Let us remain standing for the word.
Amen.
There is a word from the Lord today.
Yes, sir.
Thank God. There is a word from the Lord. Yes, Lord. And the word is coming from the book of John, St. John, chapter 20. John, chapter 20. It's the fourth book in the New Testament. We all have it, starting at verse 27 through verse 31. I hear some pages. John chapter 20, verse 27. Then said he to Thomas, reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands. And reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side. And be not faithless, but believe it. And Thomas answered and said unto him, my Lord and my God. Jesus said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. And many other signs truly did Jesus in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that ye might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. But these are written that ye might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing ye might have life through his name. That you might have life through his name, Jesus' name. This is the word of God. After this, after the choir sings, we will hear from Pastor Taylor. Let us pray with him and for him. God be the glory.
who you are because you are the great I am. So now, God, we pray that you would look down upon this your servant. God, clear my heart, my mind of anything that's not like you. Oh God, I pray, I thank you for allowing me to stand again. Every time I get a chance to stand to you, I count it as a privilege. So God, I honor you right now because you are the best thing that I've ever had. I pray now that you will bless your people. Open their hearts and their minds to receive the word. The word may become living within their hearts, within their spirits, that it might come forth. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Thank God. Thank God for another wonderful, wonderful worship experience. Just for a few minutes, I want to talk from that 20th chapter of the Gospel of John. And I'm going to talk about he made a believer out of me. He made a believer out of me. He made a believer out of me. My brothers and sisters, the Apostle John in this passage leaves no room for discussion or debate as to why he sits down with pen in hand and writes this account of the gospel of Jesus Christ. He says emphatically that he writes in order that we might believe. And when I look down the corridors of time and scan the pages of history, I constantly am amazed by the strange, unusual things that I sometimes see God doing. I mean, God has a habit of doing things that simply boggles the imagination. If you have ever been amazed by God, it's something that you will never ever experience and equal. Because when God does something, you know it is God. The kinds of things that defies both reason and rationale. The kinds of things that have no human explanation because it is beyond our natural comprehension. The kind of things that make you want to say, I just knew that it was God. See, some things that happens in your life, you know that nothing else could have done it but God. There are some blessings that we get in our lives that we know that if it had not been for God, we would not have received those things. Now don't ask me how he did it, why he did it, or when he did it. He did it, and I just know that God did it. When Jesus is represented, he will make unusual ways that seem impossible for you and I. There was a word that we apply to these astonishing acts and actions of God. We call them miracles. When was the last time you saw a miracle? Huh? When was the last time you saw a miracle? It should have been just a few hours ago when you woke up and looked in the mirror. You saw a miracle. Huh? There was no rhyme or reason that you should have been here on this earth right now, but that God performed a miracle in your life. Should have been dead and gone a long time ago. But God worked it out for us. He made things happen that we thought could never happen. This is the word that we apply to these astonishing acts and actions of God. We call them miracles. God is able to do things that nobody else can do. Do things in nature and in humanity. When God parted the Red Sea for Moses, that was a demonstration of his laws of nature. When he called the walls of Jericho to come tumbling down by blowing of the trumpet. When God called the sun to stand still at noonday for Joshua. Caused the rain to fall down for Elijah. When he added 15 more years to the life of Hezekiah. Those were divine demonstrations of the power over law and nature. But I rise to tell you today that God doesn't have to interrupt the law of nature for me to say that it just had to be God. Every time I wake up in the morning and I discover that my bed was not my cooling board and my cover was not my winding sheet, I say it just had to be God. Who could have brought us through the night but God? I know it to be God. I know it to be God because I know the power of God. Nobody else cares whether you wake up from one day to the next. But God does. Because probably when you go to sleep tonight, there's some folks that wish you didn't wake up. But look at God. My brothers and sisters, when people try to give you an opinion about who God is, you don't need people's opinion about who God is. You don't need nobody's opinion. You just need to get in touch with Jesus, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And now it's amazing the length and breadth folks will go to cause others to believe what they believe. I mean, there are some folks who will take extreme measures to make you believe what they believe. Yes, they'll lie. They will deceive. They will mix truth with false error in order to get you to believe what they want you to believe. That's why you got to watch those folks who look so innocent. Because they might be winding you up to believe in a lie. Some folks just look too innocent to do anything wrong. You look at some babies and some children, man, that baby just look too sweet to be mean or to do anything wrong. But you hear mama say, you just don't know. You just don't know. Yeah. We need to understand that there are folks that are trying to constantly get our attention away from God. And we got to be careful. Instead of facts, we act on wrong advice. Well, you need to know that how you behave is determined by what you believe. Y'all hear that?
Yes.
How you behave, how you act is determined by what you believe. Many times we see children cutting up and acting up outside in the mall and all this kind of stuff. That ain't the only place they've been acting up there. But y'all send them to the mall to act up. Before you tired of them acting up at home. Send them to the mall. That's what a lot of parents do. They send them to the mall. Instead of facts, you act on wrong advice. Well, you need to know that how you act is determined by what you believe. What do you believe? What do you believe today? And that's what Jesus was doing here when he said in verse 24 of the text that as the Father has sent me, so I send you. I tell you, John, sure made a believer out of me, because John writes about just what Jesus came for. Maybe that's the problem. We really don't know what we believe in. Do you really know what you believe in? If you had to take an essay that would determine whether you would go to heaven or hell, could you write an essay to explain what you believe? I believe this because it's what Mom and Dad told me. I believe this is what I learned in Sunday school. But what do you truly believe? Huh? See, because there are folks has a way of telling you things that you want to hear to make you believe in them. Huh? But what do you truly believe? Maybe that's the problem. Perhaps we are somewhat like Thomas in this text. Verse 25, he says to the other disciples, upon being told that they had seen Jesus, Thomas said, except I see some prints and some nails, I ain't gonna believe it. You see, Thomas was much like many of us today. We always need some evidence in order for us to believe. But what if Jesus waited for you and I to show him evidence of our trust in him? What if he waited for us to make good on that promise that we made to him when we told him, Lord, if you just heal me, I'll do this, or Lord, if you get me out of this mess, I'll do this and that. How long would the Lord have to wait on us? How long? Thomas needed evidence. Maybe because of whom the report came from. He did not believe. It was Peter. Y'all know Peter was a liar. Huh? Peter was a liar. He carried a knife. He cut you. Huh? Yeah. See, when you get your information from a suspect source, you might not believe it. I know some people that would tell me the sun was shining. I wouldn't believe it till I went outside and saw it. See, I would have said something else, but that's the most clean thing to say. You know, something simple. I know some people that every other word is a lie. That's right. Every other word is a lie. And they can be so convincing. It makes it sound like the truth. And I'm so glad the old folks used to say, the proof is in the pudding. You put it in the oven and cook it. Put it in the refrigerator and freeze it, and then see what you get. Thomas needed evidence because he wasn't sure about Peter. Peter wasn't perfect. Peter had a lot of issues. That's why you need to check your source.
Check your source.
When folks come telling you,
Check your source.
check.
Check.
Huh? Check it once. Check it twice. Don't take it for face. Don't take it for face value. It all depends on who's saying it. You got to take it with a grain of salt.
That's right.
Yeah. See, Thomas, he said, y'all can tell me anything y'all want. But until I see it, I ain't going to believe it. But here in this text, the Apostle John steps in and he steps on the dance floor of life, risking his life, persecution and prison in order that we might believe. He takes extreme measures to cause others to believe. He says in the text, many other signs and miracles truly did Jesus do in the presence of the disciples, which are not written in the book, that ye might believe that Jesus is the Christ. What extent will you go to prove to a world that Jesus is the Christ in your life? John says, I'm writing that ye might know that Jesus is Christ. He uses the word Christ, which means the anointed one, the Messiah, the promised Redeemer. He seems to be suggesting that there might be others that will come into your life claiming that they can deliver you out of your troubles. But John seems to be saying that there is some stuff that only Jesus can deliver me from. Some folks make you think they can move mountains. They talk, their talk is so sweet. It gives you a cavity and you gotta go to the dentist. When the dentist give me Novocaine, starting to drill, I know that there was a lie. There's some stuff that only Jesus can deliver me from. See, because when Jesus delivers you, you've been delivered. There's no doubt about it. When Christ delivers you, you'll be able to let the Lord fight your battle. Huh? When Christ delivers you, you can forgive and forget. I can't do it on my own. I cannot forgive you on my own. I need the Lord to help me. I need the Lord. First of all, I need the Lord to deliver me. Huh? Before I ask him to deliver me from you. Yeah. Deliverance will call. When Christ delivers you, you can forgive. Huh? All of us in our lives have had some folks that have done some right stuff to us. Huh? And you said, I ain't going to forgive. But the more I pray for forgiveness, the greater my forgiveness becomes. Because after a while, if I pray enough, I get to the point where I give it to the Lord. When you get to the point you can give the Lord the things that you are going through, brother, you're on your way. Yeah, when Christ delivers you, you can forgive those who despitefully misuse you. When Christ delivers you, you can come to church in a worshiping mode. Huh? Well, on your way to church, you get yourself ready. That when I hit the door, I'm ready. I don't need the choir to pump me up. I don't need the praise team to pump me up. I'm just ready because the Lord has delivered me from whatever I've been going through all week long. said, I was glad when they shared to me. Let's go. Let's go. Don't get ready. Let's go. Yeah, I want to go. When Christ delivers you, he'll set you free from sin. I don't know about you, but I'm glad today, and I thank God for Reverend, our brother John. Huh? I thank God for John. Because by John's writings and John's testimony, he made a believer out of me. Literally, what Jesus was doing in our text, he was dispatching his disciples to go into a sin-filled world and warn mankind that there is an evil spirit called Satan on the loose, who poses a threat to your safety, your security, and your salvation of mankind. God wants us to know that we got an enemy, and his name is Satan, Slewfoot, whatever you want to call it. But Jesus, through John, says,